What's up? Welcome back to another review of Loki here on Certified Gumbo. What's going on?
I'm chilling. What's going on?
Man, episode two is what's going on, man. This is like amazing for me. How
So
about you? How you doing?
before Loki started, I said I wasn't going to do any research and I was just going to enjoy the show. Then we got episode one. Didn't do too much research, but I definitely, you know, I did a little things. I did some googling, but I told myself, you know what? Let me relax. Then episode two comes out, right? Completely obliterates almost every theory that I had. And so I was like, yo, I'm gonna just sit back and, enjoy. But of course, after doing more research today and watching it multiple times and talking to you before we got on camera, I'm digging myself deep into the conspiracy or theory bag, and I don't want that.
It's gonna
But
happen. The show invites it. It's really hard not to. Like it's the why. Okay, so Falcon and the Winter Soldier didn't have much for speculation. It was a
right,
very straightforward show.
right.
This is very much like WandaVision, where there's a lot of things going on that you invite, like speculation and theories. However, the biggest difference between this show
This
and
is
WandaVision thus
entertaining on
far,
its own.
it's entertaining and it's actually answering questions at a rapid pace and while also inviting more questions and like creating more mystery within an episode. So like every cliffhanger that we ended on in episode one was answered in this one, and then they introduce even more mysteries for us to look forward to in the next episode. So yeah, like I'm feeling more comfortable with certain theories and speculation on this show. Even though we did get burned with WandaVision, I'm not feeling that same type of vibe with this show.
Can I just say, last week I swore up and down we were never going to see the TVA employees eating, and then in this episode they got them smack in the freaking cafeteria.
So I've seen some very interesting theories online about the TVA and what they could be. Um, well, yeah, it's yeah, there's some interesting things that's going on, especially with the agent that got captured. But before we even get into it, man, let's get everybody who's watching to rank it this episode on a scale of 1 to 10. Honestly, I watched this early this morning around 7, probably 7:30, and had to sit on it, and I'm still at a 9 for me. Like this was really good. This was really good.
I'm giving it an 8 only because, and I wouldn't say that this is a bad thing, but it's just not what I was expecting. I was expecting this show to be about Loki hunting the variant. I thought it was going to be the whole show. We see the variant and Loki gets to the variant in episode two, which tells me I don't know what the rest of the show was about. I have no clue. I don't know what's coming next week. Like, at least with WandaVision, I had, okay, they're going to be in another time period next week. Oh, we got color. Oh, it's going to be the 70s. I don't know what's happening next week. I don't know.
Ducky, Momo, what's happening? Good to see you, man. Crazy theories making fun. I agree. Look, I'm not afraid to theorize and speculate a little bit. This is all fun and game for me. I'm going to enjoy the series regardless of what happens, but I do enjoy the theorizing and speculating of what could happen in this show. Ducky says a 9. So yeah, we're high on this show regardless. Like I mean, I think everybody, for the most part, would say that this is who's watching it. This episode is a very good follow up to last week's episode.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, like I'm like I don't know. I'm looking forward to episode three. That's for sure. Like I might have to hop into a watch party if I can like schedule my sleep properly
Wait,
for
they're
next
really
week.
doing
But
3
yeah.
a.m. watch parties?
Oh yeah, like there's a lot of channels that are doing 3 a.m. watch
Maybe if it
parties.
were Thursday night, but I'm not staying up until 3 o'clock in the morning, or I'm not getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, our
That's
time,
some
to watch this. It,
That's what I'm saying. We would have like I would have to go, but see now we stream on Tuesdays, so like it makes it very hard to do a watch party because it's like I could technically go to sleep at let's say 7 or 8, and be rested enough to wake up at
You
like
can just do that?
2. Yeah, yeah. And then, I'll get up, and I mean, it's not like I'm going to go straight to sleep at like 7 or 8, but I can be in bed like in a restful state. So by the time I fall asleep, I'll have at least, a couple hours, watch the hour-long episode, then go back to sleep, and then be ready for the morning.
Yeah. This Loki's gonna see me at like 7:30 for the
That's
rest of the
more than
show.
likely that's what's going to happen, unless like some crazy stuff happens like between next week's episode and episode, like, let's say 5, and episode 6 is looking like it's about to be like crazy lit. I might be excited enough to get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, but more than likely that's not going to happen. 3 a.m. is brutal. Agreed. Especially like during the middle of the week. Speaking of, there was an announcement from Disney that all of their shows moving forward will now debut on Wednesdays. Um, what do you think about that?
Why?
Well, officially they've said because they want to have like a time period for Fridays for premieres. So like their um, Disney Plus exclusive content. And then also, I'm pretty sure they want people to go to the movie theaters from Thursday
Mm,
to Sunday. So
okay.
like, you know,
So
that's
does that
that
mean
was publicly that's what they've said.
new shows like we'll get a Wednesday episode and then the next episode will be like on a different weekday?
Yes,
Okay.
no, no.
Or is it
Well,
Wednesdays
I don't
period?
know. I think Wednesday's period. I wonder if that's just for episode premieres or if that's for the entire run of the show, because that could get a little challenging. I would foresee, like, I could see them doing something like Monday to Wednesday for premieres, like, and for like episodes. Um, and so I would say that that's something that we would have to watch and monitor. And of course, like, I think the theater thing makes sense. The theater play being that they want people to go to premieres, which begin Thursday nights all the way up until Friday, Saturday, really on those, especially on those first weekends. They don't want to compete with any of their uh, summer blockbusters
Got you.
in the future.
So I think that makes a lot of sense, but I was concerned prior when like WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier were coming out on Fridays, and then you also had um, The Mandalorian was on Friday, plus The Bad Batch is now on Friday. So I
Yeah,
thought initially that they were putting it on Wednesdays just to break that up. Now realizing that it's because of the theaters, that's cool, but I still feel like they should break some of it up because just like right now, how they have The Bad Batch and this show running at the same time, if they were both on Wednesdays, there would be a conflict.
yeah. The overlap is something that would be inevitable if they're only going to do it on Wednesdays. Like, I can totally, like, it would make sense to premiere something on a Wednesday, like every first episode for a new show comes out on a Wednesday, but then the following episode comes out like on a Monday or a Tuesday or maybe even a Thursday, just to kind of break up and make sure that there's no overlap. Because if they had stuck to their original release plan for this show, which was slated for Fridays, then it would overlap with the Bad Batch, and then you would have, I mean, people do reviews and things like that for these shows, and they want to be able to cover this. Like, it's going to become hectic for not only fans who are just watching, but for other people and within the industry who have to cover the content. That would be my thing. Like, I don't know. What's it? I'm curious to see what people have to say in the chat about it. Like, is Wednesday having everything come out on a single day, like a Wednesday, a good idea, or should they space it out? Like, we definitely want to hear what your opinions are. But while you compose your thoughts on that, I will ask. We'll get back to this episode review. Um, right off the bat, you know, the TVA stuff. Loki being Loki, getting back to his mischievous ways. I like the whole thing with them going to the so the variant Loki captures one of the TVA agents. They ambush them in this
A Renaissance fair.
Renaissance fair, and captures one of the agents and goes back into the time stream. And Loki and team respond. Loki is back to his mischievous ways. He tricks them into believing that the variant Loki is outside of the tent, so he can basically stall for time and try to get them to uh, uh, commit to his scheme, which is to have this one on one with the or one on three with the timekeepers, which he inevitably reveals at the end of the episode is him wanting to um, take over TVA, which we kind of assumed that was what he wanted to do anyways. Like you, Loki has a soft heart. We've seen it, but at the end of the day, Loki is Loki. So
He just
not
wants to
everything on
control
the
everything.
can't trust everything on the surface, right? Like he has his moments, but at the end of the day, he's gonna be Loki.
Like, imagine going from I want to be to the ruler of the world to finding out that there is only one place that controls all of time. He's
Exactly.
like, well, F that world stuff. I'm trying to control that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, he tells. I think that was. I think that's also another interesting component or dynamic layer of the show is Loki himself. I mean, the prime Loki or whatever. What do we call him? The prime variant Loki
I'm just going to refer to him as Loki, and everybody else will be
is a
variant
variant.
Loki. So right now, or unless you want to get into that, we can call the one from today variant Lady Loki or just Lady Loki.
Yeah, we can get into some of the speculation and theories if you want to after the at the end, like let's say the
I
last 15 minutes.
I don't want to. I'm gonna be honest, but if it is
It's
our
almost
job,
necessary. It's
if
got
then
to.
we can. I'm not excited to do it though.
We're gonna have to like it's some we have it's there's some things that need okay we can do some of the more concrete stuff, you know what I'm saying, like the thing like well yeah we don't have to go into the wild speculative theories, but things that have some sort of research behind it or some backing. I think we can talk about a little bit because definitely with the Lady Loki, there are some question marks for sure that I think we can kind of address and see what happens with the next week's episode.
Okay, well I will say this. I guess this isn't theory based. I think it's one dope that this show is visiting so many different historical times. Like for them to go back to Pompeii, I thought that was really dope. Shout out to my Latin teacher in high school. I was in Latin 1 through 4, freshman and senior year. Shout out to Miss Jones. I don't know a lick of it today, but I know a lot of stories. Like I know all of the Roman god stories, all of that stuff. But can I have a conversation with you in Latin? No, not at all. But I was excited to see them go to Pompeii today. So that type, and then they showed like a future historical event that hasn't even happened yet, and I thought it was kind of dope. Also, as close as we are with technology right now, I do feel like Hollywood makes the future look a lot more exciting than it's going to be, especially with like how just much the business side of the government is fighting like electric technology. Like the world is not going to look like that as long as oil is number one. It's going to continue to look just like this. We can't get the Jetsons until we can let oil go.
Right.
So I think it's crazy that the future is always extra shiny and chrome, and in reality, it's going to look just like how it does today, pretty much. Except I don't know, more drones probably. But
Yeah,
yeah, oh, you go.
I would say that. I mean, I feel like they've toned down a little bit from their futuristic predictions of the past. Like everything was like shiny and like flying cars everywhere and all that. Like, but now lately it's more like grounded. Like you see technology that is like right here on the edge of today being basically utilized.
Every
widespread in a lot of the future property. Like it's things that you can see prototypes for today, like just being used. So it's like it's way more grounded than it used to be. But I do agree. Um, it is it does make it feel more realistic in these depictions. Captain's log.
the captain's log. What's
What's going
going
on?
on? I am okay. How do I talk about this without talking about a theory? In this episode, it bothered me that Loki was able to find a chink in the armor. So a kink in the armor?
Chink.
Okay. A chink in the armor so easily. Like they've been working in the TVA all these years for probably there's no time works differently in the TVA. We don't know how long they've been working on it. We've been working there, but the TVA has been a thing for at least a significant amount of time. And they've never considered that. And I'm not trying to knock Loki down because yes, he is not to be played with, but the fact that he was able to find that so quick, something bothered me. Like something bothered me about that. It even if there should have been some sort of blip, someone who's not supposed to be there is doing something, and the variant measurement tool didn't even beep a little bit, nothing. I didn't like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at least we thus far have been led to believe the TVA have been around for forever. Um, it is interesting that the agent that was kidnapped by Loki, when they found her, we're gonna hop all over the place, like just hit on the interesting aspects of the episode. Like, so when they find the agent that was captured in the Roxxon grocery store, they she's like in like this why like it's like almost like, oh, Loki was the lady Loki was in her head, so I'm pretty sure that affected her to some degree. But she kept repeating, "It's all real, it's all real, it's all real," like, and then she started repeating like she wanted to go home. And when the agent, when Owen Wilson's character Mobius
Oh, Mobius.
said, "Yeah, we can take you back to the TVA." She said like no or something, like as if that's not what she meant by going home.
She continued to say, I want to go home." What if
Right? Like I
everybody who's
don't.
working at the TVA is variant?
What if they're not exactly like? What if they aren't created from? What they weren't created by the timekeepers, but are variants and are just
Stuff.
brainwashed into doing the TVA stuff. Similar to what we saw in like WandaVision, because like if these are like supreme beings, and if Wanda can do something similar with her, uh, with that, like I'm pretty sure the timekeepers can do something probably better, that works to a better degree than Wanda was able to do. Like it's not outside of the realm of possibility. Like I'm not holding out hope that that is what inevitably happens, but I think that is an interesting idea that is worth pondering.
I said I was not going to theorize nothing,
Because
and here I am.
with the whole like all the propaganda stuff with the TVA is just like it's not, it's weird, you know, like I can believe that people would believe that, like especially if they were created just to do these tasks. But um let's say they weren't, like let's say they were just brainwashed into doing this stuff and these are all variants, like it's weird that Mobius has like this obsession with jet skis from the 90s. Like why, what
Ooh,
is that? You know what I'm saying? Like why? That makes no sense, especially on Earth. Like for what? Like that doesn't make. If he was created by the TVA, why would he have that type of obsession with jet skis? You know what I'm saying? Like that is an unnecessary thing, especially if you're creating beings to perform a single task for you. Like it's almost like they all have, maybe at some point they had their own independence and they veered off the course and are now TVA agents. Like we don't know what happens to all of the variants. Like we're led to believe that they're disintegrated, um, But what's the? Is there a prison? Like, are they held for eternity in a location, or are they taken to the timekeepers, brainwashed, and then become members or agents for the TVA?
Now I'm sitting here thinking if that guy who never had fish before never had it because he's allergic to it.
Right, or maybe he's not
It's just
from.
too much.
Maybe he's not from Earth. I don't know. Like what? And they're all human too. But anyway, that's like all weird um, stuff. But this, I mean, the whole from the jump, like one, I was not anticipating um, to meet Lady Loki in this episode.
Me neither.
Neither was I anticipating Loki to go with Loki at the Lady Loki at the end of the episode. But I have to call out something that caught my attention, which was when Loki, you know, they're going through the grocery store, they're doing their Loki mind game with one another, and Lady Loki is basically using her magic to body swap
Hmm.
with the various people that she encounters. When Loki calls her Loki, she says, "Ew, don't call me that," like or something like that. Like I don't like when people call me that or don't call me that. Something like she didn't want to be called Loki, which I thought was interesting. What did you think about that?
It didn't even register in my mind, honestly. It didn't. The comment that you made about her hair stuck out to me more than anything.
Yeah, that was another thing. Like the one instance in the comics where we have Lady Loki, it's um, she still is a brunette, and it's not technically Loki. It's Lady Sif, and Loki is just occupying her body. It's still male Loki, but he's just occupying the vessel that should be Lady Sif's from the what is it, the Warriors 3, whatever, Thor's friends. But this Loki is blonde.
Yeah. Also, in Norse mythology, Loki has red hair, and apparently, people who believe or follow Norse mythology are very upset about Marvel's depiction because his hair is black in the comics, and that's not how it's supposed to be. So they're
Ah,
like, if you're going to take our gods, do it right. But I
hey, I
even
feel
thought
you on
about
that.
it when they show the variants before they go to the Renaissance fair, the little handheld joint where they're looking at the different images, they all have black hair. So I've been thinking about that a lot. Like, her hair is blonde, but
Yeah, that's another thing.
I'm not
Yeah.
too sure if I want to theorize so much about who she is because I'm questioning if that's what's really important right now. Because I'm questioning the TVA right now. That's what's on
Mm.
my mind. And I'm trying to figure out, is it important that she is or isn't the variant? There's just so many things going on. I don't know. I I just wanted to sit back and enjoy this show. And I'm
Well,
not
this is
doing
part of
that.
the enjoyment of the show. This is like, it, all right. I mean, realistically, though, the show's always been the Phase 4 entry point, right? Like, it's that WandaVision wasn't supposed to be that initially. Falcon and the Winter Soldier wasn't either. It's all of this was part of Phase 3. This is the Phase 4 entry. So this is really the safe ground to speculate if
Yeah.
you think about it, because like it is going to impact what we see next. WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier are a part of the story, but as far as its impact in the greater Marvel cinematic universe, we yet to be seen. But this Loki show has always been something that they've marketed as like a big deal, and you can tell by the budget. First of all, like the budget for the show in the first 2 episodes is vastly more than like what we saw with WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. So like I would say because I'm thinking about the shot of them going down the elevator in the TVA with like all of like it the cinematography and like everything, the Pompeii recreation, all of that, like the budget for the show was massive, had to be. Don't know the exact numbers, but like I think that um, especially with a character like Loki, there are going to be deeper implications, and the fact that it ties directly into Endgame. Like there's a lot there that invites possibility for the future. So yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is just stay, you know, in the show, but just we can't close ourselves off to like what could possibly happen. You know what I mean?
Well, I do have a bit of an idea. To answer the captain's log question, well, he asked, "So why do y'all think that Loki can only access 2 files in the library?" I'm questioning whether or not the rest of those files are even full. Like the employee couldn't even talk until Loki rung the bell, and then everything was classified except for 2 files. I don't really know. Like somewhere a kid went into the street to pick up a ball that he wasn't supposed to get. Why is that classified information? That created a variant. Why is that classified information? So um, I'm even questioning how grand the TVA really is.
Mm.
Like in the first episode, Loki asked Morbius if the place was magic, and Morbius goes, "Nope, it just is." Like
Yeah,
that seems a very grand place. I don't want
yeah.
to say that it's an illusion, but
It's
I
very
don't know what's up with that.
expansive. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very expansive and it's very detailed. Yet no one seems to know what it is. Well, at least that's what I'm
and they
speculating. I don't
haven't
think they
explored
know.
it.
I think they're yeah. I think they're just accepting whatever. They just accept the propaganda. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever they were told by the timekeepers, or who, if the timekeepers talk to them directly, or however they communicate, however the information is passed along. Um, that's what they heard, and that's all they've accepted, and they're not questioning. And Loki is kind of there, like, how does all of this, like, I think those questions that he's asking throughout the show are important, especially in regard to free will, and like existentialism and everything like that. Like those conversations that he's having with more Mobius um, are very key. And it's something else that I just recalled from the episode. Loki is having a conversation with Mobius, and he tells him that um, not everything bad is all bad, and not everything good is absolutely good, and like they kind of left it at that. And I'm like, it's in reference to the TVA and the timekeepers and Loki, like he's referring to himself, like because he is what would be considered the bad guy, or at least from Mobius' standpoint, because I think they were talking about trust, and like perhaps it's implying, or at least Loki's theory at this point is that maybe the TVA isn't all the good it's claiming to be.
I took that differently. I believe that Mobius believes that the TVA is real and that what they do is just what they do. He's there to serve that purpose. And no matter how evil something seems to be, like let's just say, there's something bad that happens in the sacred timeline, or no matter how good something's supposed to be, let's say something good could have happened, but it would have created a branch in the timeline. It doesn't really matter because what needs to happen is what has to happen. Loki had to stab people in the back in the sacred timeline, no matter how bad it seemed. It's what needed to happen. So that's how I took that. Only because
Yeah,
Mobius said it, and Mobius believes that everything is real. Also, can I just say, I feel like B-15 is going way too hard.
yeah, yeah, for real.
That has like she's giving hall monitor vibes. Like, why are you the angriest all the time, or why are you taking it more seriously than everybody else around you? Something's up to you.
Yeah, I wonder how she'll be after, because her whole demeanor changed when she woke up from the spell. You know what I'm saying? And like, given the fact that the was it C-20, I think was the agent
Mm-hmm.
that was captured, she had a complete, like, her whole like life was changed. She also said that she told Loki where she could find, or the variant Loki where she could find the timekeepers. So I mean, maybe B-15 will have a different, you know, disposition after that event. See, Ducky Momo says
Random,
WandaVision. Oh, go.
oh, random thought. WandaVision had a nightmare reference in episode one where they showed his helmet. Loki flat out mentioned nightmare in episode one. Did they have a nightmare mentioned in Falcon? Falcon?
I
Um,
don't think so.
I don't
Uh,
remember.
nah, that Falcon was pretty grounded. Um, yeah, that. I, but yeah, they're that is interesting. That is interesting.
I mean, Bucky
We've
had a
also heard
literal nightmare
he had
in the show.
nightmares.
He
He was
had
having
nightmare.
nightmares, but the character of Nightmare wasn't. I don't think was mentioned in the in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Not to my recollection. It's also like that wasn't that in that was a rumor too that Nightmare was going to be involved in like the Spider-Man No Way Home or uh probably Multiverse of Madness, maybe both. I don't know. Anyway, that name's
I
been
know that
passed around a lot.
there was a theory that the Quicksilver that popped up in WandaVision was actually Nightmare. I remember that.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that was proven quite wrong.
That was such a sad time for all of us. But
Oh man.
I don't know, Ducky Mori. I've been saying I want to rewatch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. But I would like to watch it from beginning to end. So if I get around to that soon, and I'll pay attention for the reference.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. So that they definitely leave some room for interpretation with the nightmare. I mean, Nightmare could have had some sort of play. It's possible. Like it wouldn't be a total retcon if that was the case. Like they could softly retcon that aspect of it if they wanted to. I don't think that was the intent of that reference. I think it was just an honest nightmare. But there's still room for it to be a true, nightmare influence. All right, what else happened in the episode? Do you want to go over the the locations that were mentioned in the screen during
Yes, I
the
didn't even.
rupture?
I was watching the show before we came on tonight. I watched it for a second time, but you mentioned it, and then it came on
Hold
tonight.
on. But honestly, now before we even get into it, like I from the show standpoint as a whole was not expecting this to happen in episode two. Like I'm thinking if the timeline is going to rupture, like that would be an episode six cliffhanger, getting us ready for like multiverse of madness and other things, and that's still possibly on the table because who's to say they won't fix or they will fix the timeline in time for the next movies to come out. But like that's wild, man. The pace of this show, which is why it's like a nine for me, because I'm like, yo, this is really moving. Like they're doing a lot of cool stuff in each episode. Um, but
So
yeah, like overall, what do you think?
I personally thought the show. One, I didn't think we were going to even meet Lady Loki today. I thought the show was going to be about catching her. What I thought the show would be, or as far as how it would help the MCU, was teaching people how time should work.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the sole purpose of the show would be explaining how time works so that when time breaks, that we would have a better understanding of just how serious it is. But I mean, as of right now, it looks like she broke it. So, I wasn't expecting that to happen in this show at all. If anything, I was expecting the multiverse to come about, I don't know, in a film.
Yeah,
I
yeah, for
wasn't
real.
expecting that. Like, if let's just say if this is the cause of the multiverse and it happens in a show, that means that I need to put much more weight on the Marvel shows than I was initially planning to. Not to say that I wasn't going to watch them, but after WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier and how those products can low key stand on their own, I wasn't expecting too much of them to roll over. Yes, Wanda has now become stronger and the Scarlet Witch in this show, which is very important, but I wasn't thinking that it, would tie in too much. However, if Lady Loki just created the multiverse in this show, then I definitely need to take it a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, and especially with Loki having his ambition of taking over the TVA, like overthrowing the timekeepers, like I mean, that's also if they're able to do that, right? Like if he follows through with that ambition, that would enable that variant Loki to be alive, moving forward in the time stream, which even still creates a multiverse. Or I don't know. I mean, it's what two ways to go about it. Either he overthrows the timekeepers to stay alive, or he does. He saves the day, stops the variant Loki. They prevent the sacred timeline from completely collapsing, and because of it, the timekeepers agree to put the variant Loki back in the time stream, and maybe at a point beyond Endgame or Infinity War when he was killed by Thanos. I mean, those are two possibilities because I just one I don't think this show is in. I think they have plans for more seasons beyond this one, and two, it's Loki. Like a lot of people and fans love this character, so if they can
Yeah.
find a way to keep him around for longer, like I'm pretty sure they will. It's just a matter of how he's going to do that in the scheme of the show.
So I was just looking to see like how long is his contract with Marvel. His initial contract was only for 6 movies. That covered the first three Thors as well as the first three Avengers films. So, and then of course he was also on in a scene for Endgame. No,
Yeah, no, Infinity War.
he was in one scene for Infinity War. So but I can't find anything, so I don't know. I have no idea, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see him again. If we see him again, though, I honestly hope he's more like the Loki that we saw at the end of and at the beginning of Infinity War. That
Yeah, yeah,
care for his brother, or even the one from Ragnarok. When he and his brother had a good relationship. I like that Loki.
yeah. I think so too. I think that I feel like one. I think he's going to survive. That's my prediction. How that happens, I don't know. I'll or whatever. I'm cool with however he goes about doing that. But I think him experiencing his sacred timeline life in the first episode probably is going to send him on that path that we saw him in. Just from uh, a personal standpoint. Um, that's more in line with what we saw in Ragnarok and Infinity War. Unless he takes over the TVA, because if that's the option, that he's going to be back to Loki, Loki of old. Not to say he'll be like the villain, but it could set up like the God King Loki from the comic books. Possibly, I don't know. Man. I do want the character to be around longer. However that happens, I'm cool with. I definitely would prefer him to be kind of sort of the good guy. But hey,
If not, it'll be great for more movies.
it would be. It would
But
be.
let's get into that list. So at the end of the show, after Lady Loki drops that bomb and completely messes up the timeline, there is a man sitting at a desk in the TVA, and there's a screen in front of him, and it's dropping a whole bunch of locations where there are branches in the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't peep, which I didn't notice the first time, Freeman told me about it. Excuse me, Coop told me about it, and then I saw it myself the second time I watched it. There were some locations that were very familiar.
Yeah, a lot, a lot. Do you want me to run some of those down, or
Can
you
you,
got them
you
pulled
have an
up?
image you can pull up on screen?
Um, let's see.
Or if not, we don't have to
How can
stress
I
it.
do
We
that?
can
No,
drop
no. Let's because they wouldn't be able to see it on the screen. It's kind of it's too small because I'm struggling to see it. One. Okay, so first location of interest is Vormir, which if you don't know, Vormir is the planet where the Soul Stone is located. So that's very interesting. Like the fact that one of the bombs was dropped at that specific location. And I remember in the trailer for Loki, I do recall a scene where Lady Loki was sitting and Loki was approaching her in a location that looked very much like Vormir. And so, because of that, I'm thinking that's where they went to, and that's where we'll see them at in episode 3, is on Vormir, and they'll continue the conversation they were having at the end of this episode. Another location,
times
of
and dates
course.
for some of the things.
What's that?
They have times and dates for some of the events also. I just noticed that before. I only knew the location, but there's dates for some. So any of the ones that are in the United States, we could probably see if there's an event that happens too. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I
Well, New
pulled it
York
up on my
is listed on
screen,
that.
my TV screen. So I can see. New York, they have 9/21, 1947. Let's see something happen.
1947. Wasn't that when? Isn't no? That's not when. Ooh, maybe that's no. Where? Well, no, because that was in Tuskegee, wasn't it? Where? Um,
It was a Sunday. Google doesn't seem to think.
1947. I don't know what could have happened in 47 in New York City specifically. Perhaps uh, what Isaiah Bradley maybe something to do with him.
There
Like
was a
who
smallpox
important was
outbreak
around
in
during
New
that
York,
timeline?
but not in September. All right, maybe it's a dud. I don't want to use up too much screen time on
I'm
my
pretty
TV.
yeah. I'm pretty sure that it's a significant historically significant, whether or not Marvel or in real life, but like they're important. I mean, Lady Loki chose these locations for a reason, and the times, and the point in which she dropped the bombs on the timeline. So all of these locations, times, and dates are important. But also Asgard is listed, and I want to. What's the date is 2004
For what?
for Asgard,
Oh,
which is, I mean, that's before the Thor movie
see,
or
but
before.
time. Well, no, I guess you're right. The
No,
Thor.
because that's on the true timeline. So like that's real time. Um,
So that would have been something that happened.
yeah, I don't think all of these are. Wow. Okay, so the Vormir one though is way in the future. That's for 2301. Let's see. Sakar is another
The
interesting
Soul Stone is
location.
technically still there.
Yeah, Soulstone is definitely there. Um, Sakar is the planet that Gore the God Butcher is from, I believe.
You told
Let me,
me
let me
Gore the
fact
God
check
Butcher
myself.
is the projected villain in Thor: Love and Thunder, right?
Yes, yes, and he is from Sakar. I had to fact check myself there, make sure I wasn't spreading false information. But yes, Gore the God Butcher is from Sakar, and this time and date is 8/13/1984. Interesting. Um, but yeah, Gore the God Butcher. That's a very he's a very interesting character. Um, Essentially, he goes around. He's called Gore the God Butcher because he goes and kills all of the gods from all mythology from all over the universe. Like he just goes on a killing spree. That's the short synopsis. If you need
Dang.
some more information from someone that knows more, Comic Book Explain has a really good rundown of the Gore of the God Butcher arc. If you are interested, so that would be a channel. I think that video's probably like 30 minutes long, something like that. But it was very good. He did the whole. He's did a really good synopsis of the entire run, and I would definitely check that out if you want a quick rundown before you watch Thor: Love and Thunder, because Gore is going to be the main villain, just so you get an idea of who this guy is. Um, Another big one. There's two big ones actually. Ego, the planet Ego.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that date is 12/27/1382. Interesting. 1382. Wow. Um,
1382. Oh, I was sitting here thinking 1982. I don't.
is
We're
that? Oh
There's
no,
no way
that
we're
no no
gonna.
no that
But
no that's
there,
Titan. Titan is
he
1982. Oh
like I I'm trying to figure out what's important, what's going on with all of these branches, or who controls the TVA. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I feel like I have to choose.
yeah
Like,
yeah
is any of this even worth investigating? Are they just trying to trick us? Also, I'll say this: if the TVA does not have enough employees to fix these branches, because I mean, yeah, she had a lot of lanterns that she dropped and she messed with. But if they don't have enough employees to deal with this, then I don't know. It's big as heck for no reason.
yeah. I mean, you'd have to imagine, right? Like the number of charges that the variant Loki stole, the locations that they dropped, all of that is very strategic. Like Loki did that for a reason. Like as they explained, all the variants of Loki are pretty much the same as far as like they're mischievous. So this Loki is already planned all this out. Like there's a reason for the number of charges that they stole. There's a reason why they um, did what they did at the end of the episode to lure Loki and the TVA agents and Mobius and um, the whole team into the grocery store. And there's a reason for these set locations. Like she could have stolen enough charges to have the entire TVA like respond immediately, vacating the entire TVA, and like she could pop up in the headquarters, and maybe it's just Roxanne is no not Roxanne. What's the Ravana? Maybe it's just Ravana and her team. Like maybe that's all that's there, and so it's Loki and Ravana having the showdown. Because I think there was a scene where, because Ravana does grab that, the weapon from her office at the end of the episode, as she's preparing for battle or she's getting ready to defend herself. I
Yes.
don't know if she's going to go out there personally. So and there's also a scene where in the trailer where she's standing down, like she's got the weapon in her hand and she's facing someone, but we don't see who it is that she's gonna face off against. So maybe that's part of the plan. Maybe to your point, like Loki has dropped all these charges at these locations to get TVA to go out and respond in full force, so that there won't be anyone there to interfere, and possibly that's why she didn't agree to the deal with Loki, because she
So
probably
I
has a better
found
plan.
a website. The Nerdist actually broke down all of those times and locations,
Mm.
and they have answered for what was happening or what's the significance of that location for all except three of the locations, and that were three of the ones in the U.S. But 1947 in New York, like I said, there was a small outbreak. However, that's the location of the Agent Carter show.
Yo, someone did in episode one. They spotted Agent Carter. Like she's one of the people that the agents are like ushering into the building.
She's a variant.
Yeah, a variant of Agent Carter is like in episode one. Like very, it's not like they're passing. It's like in passing.
I I gotta go back and watch that. 2005 Beijing. In the comments, Beijing sometimes holds the eighth gate,
Smallpox.
which is a transdimensional portal.
Mm. Ooh, that could also tie
That's
into
2005. That
Shang
was
Chi. That could also they could also tie
possibly.
that into Shang
Um,
Chi because that means the Mandarin could have some involvement with that event. You know what I'm saying?
what year does the Shang-Chi show take place? Do we know? I mean, film. Is
Current
it?
time. Current time. It's post blip too. I believe. It's back. Everything's back to normal. Like basically.
Got you. And then it also references 1991 in Xandar. Xandar is the home world of the Nova Corps. And Guardians of the Galaxy 1, that's the planet they were on where Groot died and they had that battle. But in 1991, Quasar number 20, the Fantastic Four teamed up with Quasar in an issue set between Earth and Xandar. So this link, I actually dropped this link. It's by the Nerdist. They really did a lot of investigating.
Hmm. Interesting. That's good. Investigative journalism. That's a
They
great
have
website.
every
Hey, drop
single
that in
Easter
the
egg from the episode.
drop that into the Discord too, if you can.
Will do.
Speaking of the Discord, if you haven't joined the Discord yet, what are you waiting for? There's a link in the Discord in the description of this video, but I'm going to drop a link to it as well. If you want to join us, have these conversations all the time on a variety of topics, including Marvel, including DC, including Star Wars, sports, even all types of things, like anything and everything we talk about within reason. There's a link in the Discord for well to the Discords in the chat. But yeah, that's a great
I
list.
just dropped that link. I just dropped that link into the Marvel chat.
Nice.
Shout out to the Nerdist. I like their stuff.
Yes, very good website.
I'm My brain is tired because I wasn't trying to think this hard about the show. I'm thinking too much, and now I have to wait a whole week
Till next
until
week.
the next show.
Till the next
Yes.
show. Yeah. Yeah. Well, before we go, there is another thing that I wanted to talk about, which is regarding the variant Loki, the female Loki, because there's two things. Well, a couple things of interest. One, um, when Loki calls her Loki, she tells him not to call him that. Number one, doesn't tell Loki what to call her, just says, "Don't call me Loki." And then this is when she's in one of the
She was in Larry's
enchanted
body.
body. Is it Larry or Randy? I thought she said Randy.
Randy.
Call me because
Call me
she looks
Randy because
at the name tag and yeah, and then she says, "Call me Randy." So that was cool. Um, I would. I thought that was interesting because one, the Lady Loki that we from the comics is actually brunette, and this Loki is blonde, and she has short hair. Um, and something of interest for those of you who, well, we're very deep in spoiler conversation anyway, but there is a image that I dropped into the Marvel chat in our Discord, and it is a um, the Spanish version, well, the Spanish translated and dubbed uh, episode um, credits. And as they are going through the credits and crediting the actors for voicing the characters, under the Loki voice actor, they have an actress listed and who is portraying a character named Sylvie, which is a Marvel character that is not Lady Loki. Sylvie is actually another character known as Enchantress, who was given her powers by Loki in the comic books after the Asgardians moved to Oklahoma. Like they didn't move to Oklahoma after I believe after Ragnarok happened. They relocated Asgard to Oklahoma, and Loki gives Sylvie magic powers, and she eventually becomes Enchantress. She's also blonde, and which brings me to interesting speculation that this character is possibly, although we are right now believing this is a variant of Loki, I don't think that she is a variant of Loki. I think the variant of Loki is yet to be captured. Um, or I could be wrong, and this could be the variant of Loki, but it is interesting that in the translated um, credits, the actress is not credited as Lady Loki, but as Sylvie.
I have no words. I am so. This is
So
not
we'll,
how I thought the show was going to go. Like, at least in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we knew by this point that one, we needed to get rid of fake Captain America, and two, that Carly and them needed to be stopped. That was it. I have no idea what's happening next week on this show. None.
that's all of the fun and enjoyment, man. This is good writing. This is great writing,
This
man.
is
Thus
great
far,
writing, but now I'm stressed.
this is great. This is wonderful. I'm here for it. I can enjoy the ride because I don't know what's going to happen. I can speculate and theorize what could possibly happen, but at the end of the day, like, hey, we'll see what happens. But that's my theory right now. I don't believe that, and I think in the next episode it will be revealed, of course, who this uh, variant or alleged variant is. Because I believe that they will have. I think they've gone to what is it? Not Sakar, Vormir, and I think they're going to have a conversation because we did see that scene briefly in the trailer where the variant and Loki were having a conversation on Vormir, or a planet that looked eerily similar to Vormir. So that's where I'm at right now. I think we're going to see that early in the episode. She's going to tell, maybe not tell all, but throw another wrench into this plot for us, and I think that will be the wrench. I think it will be revealed that this is her name is Sylvie, um, but whether or not she will reveal who the variant actually is and who she's working for, because she did tell Loki that he's not important, which of course
That it's not
that's
about
going
you.
to get under his skin, or it's not about you, right? Same thing. That's how he's going to interpret that, right? Like, if it's not about him, then it's basically she's telling him he's not important.
Can I just say that had to be bait?
It has to be. It's good writing either way, and I'm
It's
okay
like
with
she knew
the
that that would
outcome.
irk him.
She knew how to trigger him, which is
Yeah,
like that means she could totally be a Loki, like, you know what I'm saying, or she could be, like I said, like Enchantress would probably know how to trigger Loki.
she's definitely playing him.
Yeah, he does say. Yeah, he did say that. He did say that. There's also a rumor that the we'll see, because we do know that there will be multiple variants of Loki seen or portrayed in the show. We know that Loki is going to be gender fluid. The variants of Loki will be gender fluid. We also know that um, there's a
Gonna,
rumored
they're gonna be
old man
species.
Loki,
They're gonna be species
species
fluid.
fluid.
Yeah,
Well, we did see the examples of species fluid Loki in the rundown of the variants in the first episode. Or was that in this episode?
that was in this episode. In the last episode, the variants were in the little video by Miss Minutes. Also, I have talked to several people about the show, talking about last week's episode, and no one remembered who Miss Minutes was. And I was excited to see that Miss Minutes had a nice little uh piece
Scene.
of this episode. Yes, and she was trying to teach him. I thought that was dope. So Miss Minutes is the clock, and she, tells the rules and regulations about the TVA. She's their mascot. I like that. I thought that was cute. Also,
Yeah.
I figured she was an important role because there was a lot of news about her voice actress, who
Hmm.
it's Tara Strong, and she does a lot of animated work. And she's from
Okay.
Canada, if that's important to anyone.
Canadians. Yeah. Those. That's all.
She's Timmy Turner. She's Timmy
Oh, that's
Turner.
cool.
She's Bubbles. She's one of the Ben Tens. She's she's everybody. So yeah, it was. she was they made a big deal about her, so that's why I listened, and now I see why. She's a great
Nice.
deal. She was the girl Stitch from the Lilo and Stitch the sequel. I don't even remember what her voice sounded like.
Hey, the uncool. Are you from Canada? Are you Canadian?
I'm screaming. Shout out to Canada.
Shout out to Canada either way, but that'd be cool. Just um,
Bernard, what's
what?
going on?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, fantastic episode. If you haven't dropped the your rating in on this episode into the chat yet, please do so now. We're gonna wrap this up pretty soon, but we definitely want to know what you rank this episode on a scale of 1 to 10. We gave our rankings. I gave it a 9, and Monty gave it a.
8.
So there you have it. That's what
Strong
we
episode.
rank it.
It
Very good, very strong.
it didn't get those extra 2 points because I'm stressed out now. So you got deductions because it stressed me. But it's still
Oh man.
all around a good show. And the captain's log is right. She's both Ravens in Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go. Tara Strong.
Nice. Nice man. Those good voice actors, man, they get a lot of work. They stay employed. That is for sure. Just like the actors. But man, the stuff that the voice actors can do with their voices is change, characters. Like you can hear certain voice actors are just like unmistakable, but then there are others that like, man, they're so good at changing their voice, like you can't always pick up if it's them or not. The Uncool gives it a 9. Ducky Momo says a 9 as well. Captain Slog says a 10 out of 10. Perfect episode for him. Man, I'm holding out on my 10s. Holding out on my 10s.
I'm holding out too. If anything, I would, and this is no dig to this week's episode, going back, I would like to give last week's episode an 8.5. I was more excited at the end of last week's episode than I am today. Today I'm just nervous and I need a nap. But last week I was like, what? Like this was wild. So yeah. Now I'm stressed out. Deduction.
Oh man, this is good. This is good stuff. Imani, where can they find us?
Please, thank you for watching. Follow us on social media at Certified Gumbo on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. As always, please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, we're streaming at least twice a week, so please turn on those notifications. What else? If you enjoyed the show and you would like to support, please buy us some coffee. The link is in the description bar below. And as always, we talk about this stuff all day, every day on Discord. Still playoff seasons. That's a huge topic right now. A lot of stuff happened in the NBA today. So if you like to talk sports too, we definitely, Gumbo Sports is growing. So please join us on Discord. And of course, thank you, Ducky Momo, for representing. As I said yesterday on the show, my family lost my little brother yesterday at my little brother in 2016. And so to do something just positive to remember him, we give scholarships in his name to college bound students, people who have just graduated high school. So if you can please donate and buy some popcorn, I'm going to drop the link in all 3 sites now.
Yeah, and what's the deadline?
The last day is Friday at 5 p.m. So, and if you don't want popcorn, I know a lot of people are uncomfortable buying all this popcorn. You do not have to buy popcorn. You can also donate. So yes,
Yeah, yeah.
if you don't want to buy popcorn for yourself, you're donating popcorn to first responders and giving money to us also.
Yeah, so it's a good cause for a great person. And gotta support. So if you can, please do. And
Quentin Lee, we're just checking out. We finished. We're talking about the episode. Real quick, tell us how you felt about episode 2 of Loki if you watched it.
yeah, definitely come back and watch this episode in full too, if you can. Appreciate you popping in, but yeah, we definitely want to hear what you rank it on a scale of 1 to 10. I gave it a 9, and Monty said an 8. We got a lot of nines and tens in the chat, so definitely want to hear from
I
you.
don't think we got any ratings below an 8. Did your mom ranked it? I don't remember. Where did she say her rank was? Did she add one?
Did she rank it? I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Yeah,
Nah,
I think I gave
she
it the
just
lowest rank.
she said smallpox
Oh
in New
yes.
York on 1947. Definitely think. Okay, so it sounds like he's not finished with the
That's
episodes. So I don't know
he,
why you watched this because we would have spoiled the entire show for you. Um,
he
but
says he's not getting enough yet to rank the show, and that's honestly how I felt too. I said that last week. I wasn't too sure if I wanted to rank the show
okay, I
yet
see.
because I hadn't seen enough. And so now that I've seen this week's episode, I was able to up my ranking for last week, and I would rank last week's episode over this one. But yeah, I too would like to wait until it ends, but just for the sake of our reviews, we always have to try to give an 8 out of 10. So
Well, my mom hadn't watched it, so
it's so weird
there we
just here
go.
watching
We
trailers.
just spoiled the whole episode for her. She doesn't care. She's fine. She does not care. She'll watch it and form her own opinion regardless. Um, so yeah, that's it for this episode.
That's
Thank
all
you
I
all
got.
for watching.
Yes.
Please, if you're watching the Bad Batch, come back 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on this channel. I'll be doing a review for episode 8, giving my thoughts and overall feedback. And then we will be back next Tuesday for the Cookout at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is our flagship show. And we talk about a lot of various topics. We try to get the set topics out about 2 hours before the show so everybody can kind of sort of get prepared for what we're going to talk about. But man, yeah, if you enjoyed us, please come back. We'd love to see it. Tell your friends, tell more people, share the links, like the stream, subscribe, and as I always say, peace, love, blessings, and may the force be with you
Buy
always.
popcorn.
Buy popcorn, support the cause.